The news begins in West Africa, where the Senate in Nigeria has urged the Police Service Commission, PSC, to recruit a minimum of 10 candidates from each of the 774 local government areas of the country. This followed the adoption of a motion by Senator Udende Memga yesterday at plenary. Presenting the motion, Memga said the former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration had ordered the recruitment of 10,000 constables annually as part of measures to address the nation's security challenges. The senator said President Muhammadu Buhari was keen in implementing the policy, adding that the recruitment should be conducted based on the strength of each local government, especially in the area of community policing. We'll bring you more on security stories shortly, but first, let's turn attention to the rise in the cost of living in Nigeria. The increasing cost of food items has become a threat to the efforts of the Borno State government, Northeast Nigeria, to fully rehabilitate insurgents and terrorists. Some families recently threatened to join insurgents by running back to the bush, where they believe feeding will not be so much of a problem. News Center's Umaru Kirawa assesses the situation and now reports.
The past months have been challenging to many families across Nigeria. While in some parts of the country, residents hold protest over the steady rise in the price of food items, locals in Borno State have threatened to join insurgents in the bush if their daily meal can't be guaranteed. The state government continues with its distribution of palliatives and insisted that it will not tolerate indiscipline from all and sundry.
Da wahala muke sha shinkafa ma 1,600 muke sa yau mu kwashi gwamnati ya ba mu tallafi gashi hala amfana muna jin dadi muna samu shinkafa 25 kg da asi muna samu.
Alhamdulillah za mu je mu ciyar da iyalanmu mun gode wa Allah alhamdulillah.
Mutane da za su samu dan rahusa su samu dan abin da za yi kuma gwamnati yana tausaya Allah ya bashi riko mai albarka.
Ande awo shiro gulte ba shiri ma ruya ande buri kalo ide sharuya son cin den ganji lolo damjen.
While 100,000 heads of households smiled home with the food palliatives, the government maintained that such distribution will not last forever.
What we are facing in Nigeria is a global crisis. It's a global phenomenon. The federal government of Nigeria has started addressing some of the problems that we are facing. You have seen the Naira has started appreciating within the last 2 days. The federal government is doing everything possible to address this economic hardship, and therefore I want people of Borno State to remain calm and support the federal government of Nigeria, support the state government, as the state government and federal government are doing everything possible within our reach in order to cushion the effect of the hardship.
Various stakeholders, including community leaders and civil society organizations, were part of the distribution exercise.
We have started distribution of food items and non-food items since 2011 to date, and we are doing our best. A few days ago, I had some people saying they want to go to the bush because government is, let them go to the bush. What we are doing, I think, is enough. But as a responsible government, we shall continue to do our best in order to cushion the effect of the hardship.
The distribution of the food palliatives in Maiduguri is said to be a timely intervention for many families grappling with high cost of living. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
In the bid to ease the stress of transportation in Lagos, the state government has successfully commissioned the Red Line train. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the special guest at the event and oversaw the commissioning. The new rail line is projected to run 37 trips and convey about 500,000 passengers daily at inception. News Center's Bernard Akede was at the commissioning and found in this report.
The commissioning of this new rail line will signal the takeoff of another major game changer in the state's transportation infrastructure, so says the state government. It brings to two the rail lines owned and operated by the Lagos state government. The first phase of the Red Line has 8 stations, namely Agbado, Iju, Agege, Ikeja, Oshodi, Mushin, Yaba, and Oyigbo. The state governor, who was obviously excited about the commissioning, addressed dignitaries explaining the positive impacts this new rail line will have on the state when fully operational.
We're on a long and exciting journey. Much has been accomplished, but there's still a lot more that we need to do ahead of us. There are a total of 6 lines that we have on our Lagos rail mass transit system when fully developed. We have already started preliminary works on the next 2 rail projects, the Green Line and the Purple Line.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos, was obviously proud to see the level of development in the state and assured Lagosians of more to come.
Today is an evidence that it's good to dream, and it's a serious validation of democracy by the people, for the people. When you put people at the central focus of your vision and planning, you will realize the value of democracy.
The president also used the opportunity to address the recent demonstration by the labor union, which was as a result of the current economic situation in the country. Tinubu asked Nigerians and labor to be patient and trust his plans.
The hope is here. We have a governor in hope. And I'm standing before you, clinging to that hope, assuring you my belief that Nigeria will be out of economic problems.
After the official commissioning, the president, alongside other dignitaries, took the first official ride in the train. In Lagos for News Central, I am Bernard Akede.
The much anticipated nationwide protest has come and gone amidst the controversies. Nigeria's organized labor says that it is not backing down and insisting it has given government a 2-week ultimatum to implement demands made by the union. Our correspondent Marvelous Obomano in this special report looks at the protest and gives details as to what it has achieved.
Several workers across Nigeria's geopolitical zone came out en masse at the instance of the nation's organized labor, heeding the call to take to the streets. From Kano, Adamawa Plateau, Kaduna and others in the north, to Edo, Ekiti, Oyo, Lagos and some others in the south, Nigerian workers were unanimous in expressing their displeasure to government. However, the question many citizens ask is if the protests, like previous orders, have achieved much for Nigerian workers.
I don't think you can achieve anything reasonable through protests in this country. You understand? I believe in dialogue. You understand? That is in Nigeria. Yeah. I don't think the lawmakers even respect people that protest. You can never get what you want through protests.
I have not seen anything that has been achieved through that protest. We can only protest at the end. We call of that they will negotiate later. At the end, nothing to talk about. Before you know it will not die off.
If you look at the NLC right from the days of Obasanjo, they have break their power. NLC doesn't have that power per se when it comes to protests in Nigeria anymore. Since they have been coming out when government bring any policy that's against the wish of the masses, they have never achieved anything tangible.
The NLC says it has resolved to give government a 2-week ultimatum to implement its demands or risk another action. This, according to the union, is an attempt to force government to improve the living conditions of citizens. There are some speculation that the Trade Union Congress not joining the nationwide protest called by the Nigeria Labour Congress spells a crack in the relationship between both unions. Now, while that is being speculated, there is a subtle rumor that the NLC protest was just a mere show of "we are still here." But what does Nigerians say about a union fighting for their rights? Do they trust the Labour Congress?
I don't have 100% belief in NLC.
NLC is just fighting for their own rights based on the inflation in the country. So that's why they are fighting for their own rights. But I'm not seeing it as if they are fighting for Nigerians.
Them too, they have their own target too. So they don't have to, like you this one too, to cover up. But them, they know what they are after.
While it is obvious that nothing much has really been achieved in Labour's engagement with government, despite several protests carried out, questions are being asked on the current approach by the union because it is clear that the current strategy is not achieving much results. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboma.
Thank you for staying tuned. And to talk about the palliatives shared in Borno State by the Governor, Zulum, I'm joined live by Kaka Shehu Lawan, a member of the Palliative Distribution Committee. Good morning. Glad to have you join me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Mr. Lawan, could you provide us details as to the palliatives, shared to Jere local government area in Borno State?
Thank you very much. Following the recent economic hardship on the residents of the state and other Nigerians alike, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, deemed it fit to set up a committee to distribute food items to 100,000 people in Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and Jere local government areas. I am a member of the committee. This distribution exercise started 72 hours ago, and the exercise was on through to yesterday up to this morning. We hope to round it up sometimes next week. It comprises of households within the two local government areas. Both male and female households are inclusive. So that is the summary of what we are doing in the distribution exercise.
But how impactful was this distribution of palliatives, in cushioning the hardship being faced by people in these areas who are battling with the high cost of living in Nigeria?
Well, the governor before now had launched the mass transit buses within the state and fixed the transport fare at 50 naira per drop. Initially, he started with reducing the transportation cost, and thereafter ensured that fuel were supplied to all filling stations in the state with a view to having access to steady fuel supply by the residents. Thereafter, the next is the high cost of food items in our markets. They have started this distribution in other local government areas. 50 kg of rice and maize is being distributed to the residents. And in the metropolis, we are giving 25 kg bag of rice and 25 kg bag of maize to the residents free of charge. So it will go a long way in alleviating the suffering of the people. You have a transport system that is subsidized, you have access to fuel supply, and you have free food. This will go a long way in cushioning the effect of the hardship meted on the citizens as a result of the economic meltdown in the country. And we are optimistic that the residents will reciprocate this good gesture by being law-abiding citizens.
I hear you, but then I wonder as to what measures were employed in selecting beneficiaries for these palliatives. Were there any challenges encountered in the process?
Well, the procedure followed was we invited district heads, village heads, and ward heads, in addition to government appointees that were drawn from the neighborhoods that made up Maiduguri Metropolitan Council. I'm talking of the wards that made up, we have 15 wards. We brought government apparatus that are living within this local government area in the wards. And then we gave free hand to these traditional institutions to distribute forms. We also disqualified all politicians that are holding offices, ward chairman, ward secretary, local government party ESCO, state party ESCO, and any other party executives holding office is disqualified from this distribution. We ensured that these forms are given to ordinary citizens of the state devoid of any political affiliation. Now, the impact is, if you were given a form, you fill that form, and the same traditional institution, in collaboration with government appointees, will bring these forms for vetting. After vetting, we now give you a token for you to be admitted into the Academy Warrior Sports Center, where you are going to be given these food items. So it has trickled down. I am telling you, I have been part of palliatives in the state for a very long period of time, but this time around, it has trickled down beyond our imagination. So all the residents were happy. People that were hitherto shortchanged in previous distribution exercises have benefited today.
Thank you so much for your time on the news. Kaka Shehu Lawan, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
And now to more security stories. Bandits have abducted scores of worshippers in one of the mosques in Safe town, the headquarters of Safe local government area of Zamfara state in Nigeria. An indigene of the area, simply identified as Garaba, said that the bandits invaded the mosque around 5 a.m. on Thursday when people were about to start the morning prayer. While people tried to escape, the bandits blocked everywhere and threatened to kill anybody who tried to run away. It has been reported that members of the community protection guards are on the trail of the bandits in order to rescue the kidnapped worshippers. In Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno, the governor has appealed to the federal government to reconsider the mega plan of the Nigerian Army University bill with the Nigerian Defense Academy. The governor made the appeal during an interview with journalists in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. News Center's Umaru Kirawa has more.
The recent decision by Nigeria's federal government to merge some agencies and institutions have continued to spark discussions across the country. Borno State Governor has expressed concerns over the recent decision to merge the Nigerian Army University BU with the Nigerian Defense Academy. The move by the federal government, according to the governor, could have adverse effects on the educational opportunities for the people of Borno and the state's overall development in filling the gap of Western education.
We want to see how the federal government will reposition the economy of the nation. I think it's a very good initiative, but we are appealing to the federal government to reconsider its decision of merging the Army University Bill with the Defense Academy, because we need education in Borno State. This part of the country, Bill doesn't have university, and then you look at the quantum of students that are coming from this part of the state to Maiduguri. The numbers of the students are very high, and then we are appealing to the federal government to reconsider its decision and then allow the Army University to function.
The governor highlighted the importance of the university in providing quality education to young people from the northeastern region, which has been severely impacted by insurgency. He emphasized the need for the university to continue offering specialized courses that focus on the unique challenges faced by the region, such as counter-terrorism and national security.
If for any reason they don't want to have Army University, then we are appealing to Mr. President for the federal government, Ministry of Education, to take over the Army University to become one of its federal universities.
The governor further added that the merger with the Nigerian Defense Academy could not only disrupt the current academic programs at the Nigerian Army University BU, but could also hamper the ability to attract and retain quality faculty members. He expressed his hope that the federal government will reconsider this decision, taking into account the specific needs and aspirations of the people of Borno State. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The proliferation of small arms, drug abuse, and other social vices have been identified as the major enablers of violent attacks witnessed in some parts of Plateau State. These attacks that have claimed many lives and property have spanned over 2 decades, given reasons for urgent need to end them in no distant time. Chizoba Anyonwe in Jos, the Plateau State capital, has details.
To say that people have lost count of casualty figures in the series of attacks that have taken place in some parts of Plateau State within the last 20 years is not an understatement. Part of the conversation over the years have been on how to identify and eliminate the causes or enabling factors that sustain the attacks. Members of the Clean Foundation, a non-governmental organization with major interest in using women to enthrone peace and security in society, paid a courtesy call on the chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists to seek collaboration in their task.
They've also been able to advocate against the use of illicit drugs because they found out that illicit drugs has been one of the contributing factors to the crisis to youth. Whenever there's crisis, they just come up and they take in illicit drugs and then they go out there and start destroying and killing lives and properties. So they've been able to do an awareness and sensitization whereby they came out and they spoke against the use of drugs, and they were able to destroy so many drugs with the help of relevant authorities from within their communities.
She is the first female chairman of the NUJ in Plateau State, and her call is a joint effort of stakeholders for a more peaceful Plateau.
Let us also collaborate with other organizations. It's difficult for women to just go around and say, bring your arms out. But because you have this platform, I want to urge you to use your platform to reach out to security agencies and other organizations to see how we'll be able to retrieve those small arms and light weapons from the hands of a lot of people. It's no longer about youth now, it's everybody. Like, people try to get these things to arm themselves.
Working mostly in Mangu, Wase, Riom, and Just North local government areas of Plateau State, Clean Foundation is set to trigger deeper involvement of women in maintaining peace in the state through training and mediation processes. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowi.
1 year after Nigeria's presidential election held across Nigeria, some youths in the South-South region have assessed the process with recommendations for the next general elections. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu completes this report.
Young people between the ages of 18 to 35 coming from the 6 states in the South-South region converged on Benin City, Edo State capital, and Port Harcourt, River State capital, to brainstorm. Their mission is to assess, analyze the key challenges that trade the pre-election, election day, and post-election periods of the 2023 general elections.
This project is supporting youth to lead electoral reform effort. And we chose Benin because Benin will be having up the cycle election, and we think it's necessary and very important to come in here and organize this youth forum so that we can reach the youth here and by extension reach the voting public.
So what we want and what I want to see Niger Delta youth from the Niger Delta, youth from the South-South do is to engage and get involved in the process.
The participants identified the key challenges to include the redesign of the Naira notes, Nigeria's new election legal framework, inadequate preparation by INEC, challenges in PVC collection and registration, ethnic and tribal bias, among others.
To have a better life, and they see such as an opportunity to have a better life.
Some of the recommendations on how to improve the credibility and transparency of future elections include introduction of electronic voting and digital transmission of results. The group also recommended that the process of registering to vote and collection of PVC should be simplified. On ethnic and tribal bias, INEC should strengthen collaboration with traditional religious leaders for effective enlightenment of their followers.
And voters' education. Those are the areas that are basically where we get a lot of faults and errors. So if we can actually portray those areas and make them to be a little bit lighter in terms of different language communications, I think we'll get a way ahead of it.
One of the things that we actually paid attention to is finding the right channel at which the electoral chairman is actually appointed, elected, or selected to actually do the interests of the Nigerian people.
On the forthcoming Edo State governorship off-cycle election, the participants also called on INEC to collaborate with CSOs and NOA for massive sensitizations of the electorate and politicians on active involvement in the process and shove violence before, during, and after the election. In Benin City for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
A conservation initiative for environmental restoration and carbon isolation is underway in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. The conservation project will generate carbon credit that will be used as source for alternative income for those locals who may otherwise earn money from illegal logging and deforestation. Youth Central's correspondent Austin Azu has details.
Mangroves play a key role in coastal line defense, protecting against sea level rise, storm surges, and erosion. They also safeguard the ecosystem by functioning as natural pollution filters. However, with the crude oil exploration and spillages in the Niger Delta region, there have been an alteration in the natural sequence. Against this background, the Cerebib Capital, Aid Vasa and Foundation for Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta are set to collaborate with the Delta State government on a wide-scale mangrove restoration and conservation projects in the Niger Delta region. Delta State Governor, who expressed deep commitment to environmental conservation and development of the region, said the pioneer creative solutions would also address local demands for job creation, infrastructure development, education, and climate resilience building.
This program set a national precedent by demonstrating how environmental stewardship can harmoniously coexist with human development aspirations. I'm deeply committed to environmental conservation as rural development and therefore greatly endorse the groundbreaking mangrove and seagrass conservation project.
According to Cerebib's estimations, the mangrove restoration project has a mangroves play a key role in coastal line defense, protecting against sea level rise, storm surges, and erosion. They also safeguard the ecosystem by functioning as natural pollution filters. However, with the crude oil exploration and spillages in the Niger Delta region, there have been an alteration in the natural sequence. Against this background, the Cerebib Capital, Aid Vasa and Foundation for Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta are set to collaborate with the Delta State government on a wide-scale mangrove restoration and conservation projects in the Niger Delta region. Delta State Governor, who expressed deep commitment to environmental conservation and development of the region, said the pioneer creative solutions would also address local demands for job creation, infrastructure development, education, and climate resilience building.
This program set a national precedent by demonstrating how environmental stewardship can harmoniously coexist with human development aspirations. I'm deeply committed to environmental conservation as rural development and therefore greatly endorse the groundbreaking mangrove and seagrass conservation project.
According to Cerebib's estimations, the mangrove restoration project has the potential and aims to sequester up to 5,320,000 tons of carbon each year, while helping to prevent the deforestation of 250,000 hectares of forest and replantation of 20,000 hectares.
So, to answer your question, we're beginning this, really, the work starts in March. Hard in terms of actually deploying the program, we're probably still 10, 12 months away because there's work that has to be done in terms of looking at soil sampling, population sampling, a lot of work on the ground that has to be done.
Just recently, a bill for the conservation and protection of ecosystems and endangered species has just been passed for first reading in the House of Representatives.
This initiative will no doubt promote responsible resource management, including its contribution to carbon reduction targets, improved air quality, and public health in the Niger Delta region. In Asaba, for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
The Nigerian government has launched the Outsource to Nigeria initiative, expected to tap into a 350 billion naira global outsource market. The initiative is also expected to reduce youth unemployment in the country and help Nigeria provide available skills to countries in need. Amadine Uyi reports.
The global outsource market in 2023 was worth almost $350 billion. with Nigeria not among the top countries benefiting from this industry, despite having a youth unemployment bulge comprised of several skill sets in need. Nigeria's federal government has launched the Outsource to Nigeria initiative, also known as OTNI,
which is a timely and strategic public-private partnership that can massively create jobs and scale up Nigeria's business process and IT-enabled outsourcing sector. The initiative offers comprehensive enablement across infrastructure, private sector incentives, talent development programs, and active promotion of Nigeria's proposition. Our dynamic private sector with government support is well equipped to drive Nigeria's rise as an outsourcing giant.
The initiative, which is private sector driven and anchored by the Office of the Vice President, will connect international companies to skills available in the country.
This presents an unprecedented opportunity for job creation, entrepreneurship, skill development, and economic growth by bringing high-value outsourcing jobs onshore. As part of the broader agenda for national transformation, OTNI can also significantly advance human capital development, productivity, and be a tool for poverty alleviation.
Nigeria has the right skill sets. We graduate 1 million graduates every year with different skill sets. With this positioning, with this Outsource to Nigeria initiative, we are positioning Nigeria to be the leader in the outsourcing industry.
Outsourcing experts say Nigeria is well positioned with its large youth population and available skill sets.
We have the skill set. We have the young people, energetic, vibrant, and then we have, companies like Amals who are already doing this for the last 5 years.
With OTNI now in place, officials say the federal government's resolve to solve unemployment in the country will now receive a big boost. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Peace advocates in Nigeria have called for collective effort of all citizens to ensure that every Nigerian is free to live and practice their faith without any fear of intimidation or discrimination. And this was during a national conference on promoting and protecting the freedom of religion and belief in the country. Idong Joseph has more.
With over 250 ethnic groups and various religions, including Christianity, Islam, and African traditional religion, Nigeria stands as one of the most ethnically diverse countries in Africa. While this diversity should serve as a source of strength and wealth to the nation, intolerance among practitioners of these religions remain a source of concern to many, as over the years this can be blamed on repeated conflicts, which has led to the loss of lives and properties worth millions of naira.
Religious freedom is not just a matter of law, but a reflection of our collective humanity. It is the recognition that each person, regardless of their faith or belief system, is entitled to dignity, respect, and the freedom to worship or not to worship according to their conscience.
We don't need economists to tell us, but I've done several times, that actually companies that are more diverse in their workforce, they perform better.
Recognizing that tolerance due to religious differences plays a significant role in sustaining development and the progress of the nation, religious leaders and peace advocates at this national conference are calling for a collective effort to ensure the rights to freedom of beliefs of citizens are protected.
Let us seize this opportunity to forge meaningful connections, exchange ideas, and chart a course towards a future where freedom of religion or belief is not just a lofty ideal, but a lived reality for all.
Let's search for a common ground so that we see those things that join us together and we understand ourselves with it. And we know why we do what we do. At the end of the day, there will be peace.
Let us characterize our actions by allowing people to freely join or freely associate with whatever religion they feel it is good for them.
Stakeholders say the principles of tolerance and respect for various beliefs are fundamental to Nigeria's existence. They want citizens to embrace unity and shun ethnic and religious divisions. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
The news continues in West Africa, where a major Senegalese civil society collective says it is joining forces with the opposition to ensure presidential election is held before April 2nd, when President Macky Sall's mandate runs out. The West African country plunged into its worst turmoil in decades after Sall's last-minute deferral of the presidential election that was due to take place last Sunday. The Asunu Election Collective said it was joining with a group of 16 of the 19 candidates approved by the Constitutional Council to stand in the presidential poll. It is also uniting with the opposition coalition F24 and the Front for the Defense of Democracy.
De résistance, qui est composé des plateformes Asunu Élections, FC25, F24, FDD, ainsi que d'universitaires et d'experts électoraux, se mobilise pour un front populaire massif, prêt à défendre avec vigueur notre Constitution et à garantir l'intégrité de notre processus électoral. M. Macky Sall a volontairement choisi de plonger notre nation dans une crise constitutionnelle avec pour dessein évident de conserver le pouvoir par des voies illégitimes. Cette violation de la Constitution, masquée sous un simulacre de dialogue, vise à prolonger indûment son mandat, créant un vide juridique dangereux et une gouvernance illégitime. Nous lançons solennellement un avertissement à tous les partenaires techniques, financiers et aux acteurs économiques nationaux et internationaux. Toute collaboration avec le régime illégitime de Macky Sall après le 2 avril 2024 sera considérée comme une complicité dans la déstabilisation de notre pays. Les contrats signés sous cette gouvernance illégitime seront sujets à révision, voire à annulation.
Staying in Senegal, the governor of St. Louis region says at least 26 people seeking to reach Europe died after their loaded vessel sank off northern Senegal. Alon Badara Sam said the bodies had been found when the boat got into difficulty in a particularly dangerous patch of the northern coast. He adds that 21 people have been rescued. The St. Louis estuary, where the Senegal River meets the Atlantic Ocean, is notorious for strong currents and the areas of thick mud. Sam did not say how many people were missing from the vessel, which witnesses said could have been carrying more than 300 people. In East Africa, former Tanzanian President Ali Hassan Mwinyi, who introduced multi-party democracy to the East African nation, died on Thursday at the age of 98. President Samuel Suluhu Hassan made the announcement adding that he had been receiving treatment for lung cancer. But when he had been hospitalized in London in November last year, before returning to continue treatment in the main Tanzanian city of Dar es Salaam, Hassan said. Tanzania will observe 7 days of mourning with national flags flown at half-mast. A French journalist arrested last week in Ethiopia on suspicion of conspiring to create chaos has been released. Anton Galindo was freed after a week in prison and was able to leave Addis Ababa to return to Paris. Galindo, who heads the publication's East Africa section, had traveled to Ethiopia to cover the African Union Summit earlier this month and was arrested on February 22nd. Authorities accused the reporter of conspiring to create chaos in the country. Dutchman said Galindo's release was a real relief to the entire staff of Africa Intelligence, who were eager to be reunited with him. In Southern Africa, Mozambique's parliament has ratified an extradition treaty with Rwanda, despite fears that Kigali will use it to prosecute exiled dissent. The agreement was signed in Kigali in 2021 and approved by the Mutupu government in March last year, around the same time Rwanda's Senate ratified the treaty. Justice Minister Helena Akida told Parliament this agreement will allow Mozambique's justice administration bodies and Rwanda's justice administration bodies to exchange information on citizens. Rwanda refugees and asylum seekers in Mozambique have in the past expressed concern that the treaty will be used to hound dissent seen as opposed to Kigali government. At least 44 people have died and dozens injured after a fire blazed through a 7-story building in an upscale neighborhood in the Bangladeshi capital of Dhaka late Thursday. Bangladesh Health Minister Samantha Lal Sen confirmed this to newsmen after visiting the Dhaka Medical College Center and a nearby burn center. Police Inspector Bochomia said one more person died at Dhaka's main police hospital to bring the death toll to 44. In the meantime, Sen said at least 40 injured people were being treated in the city's main burn hospital.
Our cousin, our full family, 5 জন, husband, wife, 2 মেয়ে, 1 ছেলে, 5 জনই মারা গেছে।
দেখতে পেলাম যে লোকজন এদিকে দৌড়াচ্ছে এবং ছবি তুলতেছে সব লাইভ করা। একটু এগোইতে দেখছে এদিকে আগুন, অনেক ইয়ে করে আগুন লাগছে। তারপরে এখানে এসে ঢুকলাম, দেখলাম বিল্ডিংয়ে প্রচুর ধাউ ধাউ করে আগুন, আগুনের প্রবণতা অনেক বেশি ছিল এবং সঙ্গে সঙ্গে এখানে অনেক পুলিশের উপস্থিতি ছিল, তারাও এটাকে কন্ট্রোল করার চেষ্টা করতেছে এবং
People in Port-au-Prince fled a downtown area and their homes after gun battles broke out across the Haitian capital. A prominent gang leader said the coordinated attack by multiple armed groups was on the way to oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Shots were heard across the city as authorities battled assailants who had targeted police stations, a police academy, and the Tao Louvain International Airport. Police officials say at least one police officer was wounded in the fighting, while schools, universities, and businesses have halted their activities. Nigerian athletes are set to compete at the World Athletics Indoor Championships in Glasgow, Scotland from 1st to 3rd of March. However, one notable absence on Nigeria's roster for the showdown in Glasgow is Tobiloba Amusan, who recently set an African record in the 60-meter hurdles event. Amusan had hinted she did not have plans of competing in Glasgow coming into the year, so she was absent and may not be surprising for those who have followed her closely all season. The World Athletics on Sunday confirmed the participation of 20 reigning world champions and 7 Tokyo Olympic gold medalists, with a total of 651 athletes from around 133 nations vying for glory. Juventus midfielder Paul Labile Pogba has broken his silence after he was handed a 4-year ban for testing positive for DHEA in August in 2023. Pogba said he is sad, shocked, and heartbroken by the Tribunite Nacional Antiport's decision. In a tweet by an Italian sports journalist, Fabrizio Romano, the band player made this in an official statement issued after the tribunal verdict on Thursday, February 29th. The French international said the verdict is incorrect and will appeal it before the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Pogba's ban will end in 2017 when he will be 34 years old, raising doubts about his career after the ban. The French player says the decision has taken away everything he has built in his professional career. The former Manchester United player vowed to make the full story known when he is free of legal restrictions. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Nigeria's Senate has urged Police Service Commission to recruit 10 each from 774 councils to tackle insecurity. Senegal's civil society opposition have united for polls before April 2nd. We also told you that former Tanzanian President Al-Hassan Mwinyi dies of cancer. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba.